As you guys can see for the title, today I want to share with you guys the palettes that I pulled out for the month of April. April to me was more like springy, soft, glistening kind of eyeshadows, like fairies kind of thing. That's what I think about in April. And then May starts to turn into more like warm tones, kind of summery-esque colors. We're not there yet. We're adding a few pops of color into it. So this month you're going to see a lot of like fairy-esque kind of palettes, which I had a lot of fun with. I do have my opinions on these, and I'll let you guys know how many times I use each palette because this month is a little bit different from last month. So if you're interested, let's get into it. All right, these are in no particular order, you guys. I've been doing this every month. I've mentioned this in every month. I'm only going to mention it again real quick. I'm doing this to keep track of how many palettes I'm using throughout the year, to see what I'm neglecting, what I'm using, what I'm thinking about, and that way I can get rid of palettes that I am no longer in like thinking about or wanting to use because they're not going to get used if I'm not using them. Two, it shows you guys how I shop my stash. I've gotten a lot of questions over the years. How do I use my eyeshadow palettes when I have so many? How do I pick? How do I choose? This is one of the ways I incorporate my eyeshadow palette usage with my project pans, and I'm really having fun with it because it allows me to have a little bit more versatility when it comes to my project pans, but also not neglecting my collection itself. So that's why we're here. That's why we're doing this, and I'm very excited. So let's get right into it. So obviously you guys know this is in no particular order. I'm just going to grab as I go, and I will explain to you guys how I felt about these palettes. So let's start out with the first one. This is the Natasha Denona Retro Mini Retro. This is a perfect spring palette for me. It just gives me enough color without it being like too much, but I can still make it work. I really loved using the mattes this month. And then obviously my favorite shade in here is this one called Galaxia. One of my favorite shades. It just goes nice with everything. Really enjoy it. I always have fun with this palette. I feel like this is one of her most unique minis that she has. It's such a nice combination. Very cute, feminine. It reminds me of fairies. You're gonna hear that a lot. It reminds me of fairies. So yeah, I was a fan of that one. This one I had told you guys that I would use, and I finally was able to use it. This is actually a really pretty palette. So this is the KVD Surreal Blue Metallic Eyeshadows. So this one's obviously one that has 6 shades. They're all metallic, but I was able to use these all over the lid, and it looked like a beautiful sheer wash of shade. It was so beautiful. This burgundy is stunning all over the lid. Like, I really had fun. I used this one on the lid, mixing it with other shades. This, even though it's all metallic, can still be a standalone palette with a one and done shadow. You can use one of these all over the lid, put this in the inner corner, or that one in the inner corner, one on the lower lash line. The formula allows it to be buffed out and still look beautiful without it being so metallic all over your eye. Really well done. I really like this one a lot. So I'm kind of happy that I was able to finally touch this one because I know this one was new from Christmas time. All right, we pulled this one back out again this year. This is the Beautyverse from Charlotte Tilbury. I ended up using this one for a 30th birthday party that we had, and I really wanted to put it to the test with all the dancing and sweating we were going to be doing. And it held up really well. I didn't have any glitter fall out throughout my face. It was a very nice, sophisticated look, but I was able to use color with it. I like it. I really do like it. Now, will I go out of my way to buy another Charlotte Tilbury palette? Even this one was gifted to me, but would I spend the money on another one? No, because I have other things that are just as good that are cheaper. So I don't see it being like a necessity or her formula being so unique that I want to get everything she pulls out. This is fine for me, and I'm content with this one. I'm very happy I have this one, and I'm getting use out of it. So far, all the 3 palettes that I've shared with you guys, I've only used one time. Here's one that I love pulling out this time of year. This is the Anastasia Cosmos. This was gifted to me for my birthday last year. So much fun. So much fun to use. I love this palette. I just love the different colors in it, the tones in it, the sparkliness of it. You could take it into spring, summer, even fall. It's so beautiful. Really enjoyed it. I ended up doing a look using these 2 shades right here, because typically I always reach for like these, and this blue one I did a look with. So I decided to go a little bit more cooler tone this time with these looks. Very pretty. This is one of my favorite shades in here, even though it's all broken up and beat up. This palette is all beat up. Like, mine's all beat up, but I still love it and still enjoy it. So I only use this one time as well. What's up, Dragon's Eye, you guys? This is the time of year I wanted to pull this one out. When I first reviewed this palette, I had mentioned that this would be more of a spring kind of eyeshadow palette for me. Sure enough, it was. The last time I used this one, I was using more of these. So this time I went ahead and used these It was such a stunning look, you guys. This formula is amazing. This brand is amazing. I really, really do love this brand. I love that the fact that they're an indie brand that is affordable, but their products are high quality, made in Italy, not in China. And I always think of that whenever I see a brand charging an arm and a leg for an indie brand, charging an arm and a leg for a palette that's made in China. You can get a cheaper version and still give me those multi-chromes that I'm looking for. Beautiful. I'm always 100% behind this brand. I love it. So I had a lot of fun with this one. This peachy tone all over the lid and one of these, I actually want to continue to keep this one out because I really did love it. This is the time of year as well where I like this one. This is the Geodes, the second one that they came out with. And this one also reminds me of spring. It reminds me of Easter. So this is where I pulled this one out. The shades that I ended up using on this one was more of like these purpley tones over here. I always reach for these greens and yellows all the time, but I ended up going on this side this time. And again, beautiful. No complaints at all whatsoever. This is still holding up, looking really nice. They are glitter toppers, so if you're not a fan of glitter toppers, you may not like this specific palette, but I think it is stunning. The Dragon's Eye has more multi-chromes and more like an actual shade. These are more like glitter toppers, but you guys know I'm a fan of those. This is another one I used all over the lid and I loved it. This Earth Shine one or Earth Like one, I always use this one. I know, I love that shade in here. All right, so I pulled this one out this month because I had this in a project pan last year and I really wanted to pull it out for the springtime. This is Claws by Menagerie. Finally was able to play around with other shades in here and I really enjoyed it. Again, this for me is more of a two shadow look palette because of the color story in here. But this time around, I ended up using these two with this pink one and I added a little bit of the orange all over the lid. Very, very pretty. It reminded me of like a popsicle, a soft, springy kind of day in a garden. Like it's really, really nice. The formula is beautiful. No complaints here. The only thing that I would say about this palette is I can't use too many shades at once because I don't feel like they all go together. So I only pick like 3 max. As long as they're in the same color story, I can make it work. And it's really, really pretty. I like the formula. So this is more like a companion palette for me, but I really enjoyed it this month. Pulled this one, you guys. So this is something that I've had for a while in my collection and rarely touched it. I'm not a pink eyeshadow person, but I wanted to try this one. This is the Violet Voss Sakura Blossom. I don't know if this is still available. It might still be on their specific website. This is what this one looks like. So this surprised me because I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, which is shocking because I always see this palette and I see so many pinks and it might be because of the packaging as well. But if you're looking over here, it's more bronzy. But the thing is, when you see the swatches, you'll understand what I'm saying. Every tone, every color in here has an undertone of pink, which I think is pretty neat because I don't have that much pink in my collection. So to have a palette that even has a bronzy shade with a little bit of pinky hue to it, it's perfect. I love this. I stuck to mainly this side of the palette to play around with. I didn't go way too pink because it was gloomy, rainy month, but I could see myself reaching for this side more in the summer. This is what I reached for this past month and I loved the look. These shimmers are more of a thicker formula, but I like that because as the day goes, at least for my eyes, because I have very oily lids, it melts and it looks more like a metallic kind of cream shadow on my eye and it looked really pretty. So I was surprised about this one. I'm kind of happy that I finally reached for it and really got to know this palette because I bought it for the specific reason of having pinks and knowing I would like the formula. So it's pretty. It's pretty. I'm pretty sure most people won't say they like this one because it doesn't have your duochromes, it doesn't have glitter, and it's a thicker formula as far as the metallics, but I'm okay with that because it actually benefits me in my very oily lids. 2 more palettes. Ice Cream by Glamlight. I used this palette twice. So this past month I used it twice. Here's the deal with this palette. I like it, I don't love it. And I realized that I can't do a multiple color eye look with this palette. It has to stick to like 3 shades and then I'm done. Because I realized that the some colors aren't standalone and they just kind of blend into each other. So some shades can't work with other ones because they just get overshadowed by the other ones, literally overshadowed by them. So I realized that real quick and it kind of frustrated me because this is a very colorful palette. So I wanted to do a very colorful gradient look and it's very difficult and I would have to have precise positioning and blending in order to see each one. And I don't have the time for that. I really don't have the time for that. I think it's a pretty palette. And when you look at the swatches, it's beautiful. but this palette really does work better with your fingers when it comes to the metallic-y shades. I tried it with a brush and it did not work. And you really gotta like warm up the product. It's not like a Beauty Bay one where you just go over it like twice and have enough all over the lid. Like I really had to go in here and warm up some of these in order for them to show up the way that I wanted to. So this one's a palette where I gotta work a little bit harder on. I have to be specific with my looks, and it's not like a bunch of shades all together. This is like on the chopping block if I ever had to get rid of one. I don't have something like this in my collection, so that's a reason why. And I can see myself picking and choosing certain shades to play with and then incorporating them with another palette. I could see myself doing that. I've always wanted this palette. And it may very well be because this is secondhand to me. This was given to me as a declutter from another friend of mine here on YouTube. So it may have already had age and she used it. So that could be the reason why. So I don't want those that want this palette to think that it's terrible. It just might be that I don't have this one brand new. I didn't have it brand new for me to say that the quality has gone down because I've never tried it brand new. I did try it twice this month and it's still staying here, even though this would be something I would consider decluttering in the future. Last but not least was the Alter Ego Wildwood palette. This palette I ended up using 3 or 4 times. I know a minimum of 3. I'm not sure if I used it 4 times, but I did a whole review. I did a look on it. I really, really like this palette. So glad that they duped the Yucca palette because I know that's one of my favorites from Natasha Denona. I also did a get ready with me using the Yucca palette. So I was able to incorporate both palettes this past month for you guys to see them. Really, really pretty. No complaints. I really did like it. The only thing is you just use a glitter glue, do your face first. I didn't see any fallout throughout the day, but I did as I was putting it on. I do like this one. You can rearrange it, you guys. It's all magnetic. Going forward, they're going to be magnetic, which I think is a great thing that they did because I really do like this one. So this is the one that I used the most this past month. Alrighty, friends, as you guys can see, I had a lot of spring looks. I had a lot of sparkle. I had a lot of glitter. I had a lot of fairy looks. I tried to pull out more colorful palettes and really enjoy them. I think the purple look that I got quite a few comments on in the month of April came from this palette. So I did do a purple look and that one came from that palette. So it does give me pretty looks. It's just I got to work a little bit harder with them and be very strategic on what I want to use. So I have to have time to use that specific palette. None of these are going to leave yet. Most of these 9 out of 10 are staying. The one I'm still on the fence on, whether to see if I pull it out more, if it's worth me keeping. But I really had fun. I discovered some new ones in my collection that I hadn't used in the past that I really do like the formula, and some of these I just wanted to pull back out to really play around with more and have fun with. So let me know in the comment section what palette was your most used in the month of April. Did you enjoy it? What color story did you guys pull out? I love seeing your suggestion because it gives me ideas for the following months of what to pull out. So I am already working on May. I'm so excited, you guys. We're almost done the school year and summer's literally around the corner. I'm so excited, guys. That just gives me so much to look forward to. I cannot wait. So anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. More videos on the screen for your enjoyment. Until then.